Thank you very much. Hello, I'm Alexander Armstrong, and this is Pointless, the quiz show where the lowest scorers are the biggest winners. To stay in the game, our contestants need to score as few points as possible, and the way they do that is by giving those obscure answers that nobody else can remember. We've asked all our questions on Pointless to 100 people before the show. All our contestants need to do is find those little-known answers that as few of our 100 people gave as possible. So, for example, we gave 100 people 100 seconds to name as many national flags with stars on them as they could, and we found out that 95 of them said the United States of America, an obvious answer that would score you a horribly high 95 points. However, only 25 of them said China, a less obvious flag that would score you a respectably low 25 points. Occasionally, there are even some answers that none of our 100 people could name. So, for example, none of them said the Central African Republic. So that would have been a truly pointless national flag, and that would score you absolutely nothing. And that's just what we want. If we find any of those, then we will add £250 to today's jackpot. So, let's meet today's players. Maureen and Barbara, welcome back. We give everyone 2 chances to reach the Pointless final, and this is your final chance. Can you remind us where you're from and how you know each other?
Both Maureen and I are from a small village just outside of Ely, and we've known each other for about 15 years. And we run a murder mystery company together called Macabre Mysteries.
Very good. Well, very best of luck to you this afternoon. And Nia and Tori, you are the second pair today. Welcome to the show. How do you two know each other?
Nia's my sister. She's an event organiser, and obviously I know Nia because she's my sister.
And you've known her for a long time?
I've known her all my life.
Most of your life?
Yeah.
And what do you do, Tori?
I sing, and I'm a singing teacher as well.
Very good. Darren and Craig, welcome back. It's your second and final chance on the show. Remind us who you are.
We're brothers. We work together. We're very competitive, so I don't think we care much about winning the money as long as I get lower points than him.
Welcome to Brian and Ian. How do you two know each other?
Hi, Alexander. My teammate today is my dad. He's a former firefighter, and I work as a research scientist.
Well, best of luck to you. And finally, we've got Neil and David. Welcome to the show. How do you two know each other?
We're best friends. We've known each other about 8 years when we used to work with each other.
What did you work as together?
We used to work in a bakery.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
I wouldn't be able to do that job. I just spent my entire life chomping, I think.
Pretty much did.
Yeah? Very good. Well, the very best of luck to the pair of you. And, of course, there is one final person I must introduce. Here's the man in the know, the man with all the pointless facts and figures. He's my pointless friend. It's Richard. The top of the afternoon to you, Richard.
And to you as well. As you say, I am in the know. I've got all the questions on today's show right here. I know all the answers as well. At the end of each round, I'll be going through all the pointless answers that you could have come up with. Those are the things that no one of our 100 people said. So if you're playing along at home, you'll see how well you've done. I'll also be giving you the most obvious answers. Those are the ones that people write down immediately. The really obvious stuff. You don't know any of the questions on today's show or any of the answers, as always. So best of luck to you all, and best of luck to everybody at home.
Thanks, Richard. And today's jackpot total is, believe it or not, £7,000. An obscene amount of money. We really are hoping that one of our pairs will be taking it home at the end of today's show. And remember, if you find some pointless answers along the way, each one of those will add 250 quid to that amount. Let's play Pointless. In the first round, each of you must give me one answer, and you cannot confer with your partner. You will score 1 point for every one of the 100 people that gave that same answer. And remember, this is Pointless, so you are trying to find the least well-known answers and score the fewest points. And if anyone gives me an incorrect answer, they will, I'm afraid, score the maximum of 100 points, so do be careful. And if you do give me an incorrect answer, this will happen. And you really don't want to see that. At the end of the round, your combined score will be totalled up, and the highest scoring pair will be eliminated. And only 2 pairs obviously make it through to our head-to-head semi-final, so the pressure is really on. OK, our first category is pop legends. OK, can you all decide in your pairs who's going to go first, who's going to go second? And whoever's going first, please step up to the podium. Right, let's find out what our question's going to be. We gave 100 people 100 seconds to name as many Michael Jackson top 40 singles as they could. Can you elaborate on that, Richard?
Yeah, we're looking for any of the 43 singles recorded and released by Michael Jackson that made it into the UK top 40 singles charts. I will warn you, we're not looking for duets or Jackson 5 singles, so tread very carefully.
Right, Maureen and Barbara. Before the show, you all drew lots, and today it turns out you will be starting us off. Barbara, we are looking for Michael Jackson top 40 singles. The more obscure, the better.
The only thing I can think of is probably an album, not a single, but a Thriller.
Remember, we're looking to score as few points as possible. Those nice, obscure, lesser-known Michael Jackson top 40 singles. You're giving me Thriller. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Thriller. Well, that means 70 of our 100 people said Thriller. That gives Barbara and Maureen a pretty high score of 70 to kick off with. Richard, Thriller.
Yes, it doesn't have many claims to obscurity, I have to say. It's the biggest album of all time, of course, is Thriller. The single itself only made it in the top 10, but it's probably the single most famous pop video in the history of recorded music. But you know what? It's 70 points, it's not 100 points, so sometimes it's better to be safe than sorry.
Well said. Nia, your turn. I'm looking for a Michael Jackson top 40 single that no one else will have said.
I think the one I'm thinking is called Liberian Girl.
Oh, that sounds brilliantly obscure. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Liberian Girl. It's correct. And down it falls. Very good, look at that. That means only 4 of our 100 people said Liberian Girl. That gives Nia and Tori a lovely low score of 4. On to our next pair. Darren, what are you going to give me? A Michael Jackson single no one else will have said.
Blood on the Dance Floor?
Let's see how many of our 100 people said Blood on the Dance Floor. Down it comes. Well, it's nice and low. Four's the one to beat, and it does. Well done, Darren. That means only one person out of our entire 100 people said Blood on the Dance Floor. That gives you a great low score of 1. On to our next pair. Ian, a Michael Jackson single no one's remembered.
I think I'm going to say Speed Demon.
Let's see how many of our 100 people said Speed Demon. If it's an incorrect answer, obviously it will score 100 points. Ooh. Unfortunately, that is a wrong answer. Bad luck, Ian. That puts you way out ahead on 100 points. Speed Demon, Richard.
Okay, Speed Demon, sometimes these answers are too obscure. It was a promotional single released in the US, but it was never released in the UK, so tough luck.
Okay, on to our final pair. Neil, it's a Michael Jackson single I want, and one that as few of our 100 people will have got as possible.
We'll go for Black or White.
Okay, let's see how many of our 100 people said Black or White. Not bad. That means only 15 of our 100 people said Black or White. That gives Neil and David a score of 15. So, Richard, Black or White?
Yeah, one of his many, many number ones from 1991.
Well, we are halfway through the round. Let's have a quick look at the scoreboard. It's pretty wide-ranging. We've got Brian and Ian looking very dangerous there on 100. But Darren and Craig on 1. That's fantastic. OK, we're going to come back down the line. Can the second players please take their places at the podium? OK, David, we are looking for Michael Jackson top 40 singles. The more obscure, the better. You are on 15. To avoid overtaking Brian and Ian, who are our high scorers on 100, you have to score 84 or less with this answer. What's it going to be?
Well, I'm not a big fan of Michael Jackson. I'm not a big fan of anybody, obviously. But I'm going for Farewell My Summer Love.
Here comes your red line. That's your safety line. If you are below that red line, you are definitely through to the next round. If you are above that red line, that means you are our new high scorer and you risk being eliminated at the end of this round. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Farewell My Summer Love. It's good, you're safe. Down it goes. It's a nice low score. Congratulations, David. That means none of our 100 people said Farewell My Summer Love. And that adds £250 to today's jackpot, taking the total up to £7,250. That means your score remains at 15 and you are definitely through to the next round. Richard, Farewell My Summer Love.
It was a top 10 hit in 1984. Fantastic answer.
OK, on to our next pair. Brian, you know what you've got to do here. A Michael Jackson top 40 single. Come on.
Ben.
Very good. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Ben. It's a correct answer. Down it comes. It's good. It's a nice low score. It's 21. That means 21 of our 100 people said Ben. That takes your total up to 121. On to our next pair. Craig, we are looking for Michael Jackson top 40 singles. You are currently on 1. Our high scorers are 121, which means even if you score the maximum here, you won't be off the show. So why not see if you can find a pointless answer and add another 250 quid to our jackpot?
I'll have a shot in the dark and say, Leave Me Alone.
You're going to say Leave Me Alone. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Leave Me Alone. It's the right answer. It's good. Down it goes. Oh! Very good, though. That means only 2 of our 100 people said Leave Me Alone. That takes your total up to 3. Fantastic low score. Right, Tori.
I'm hoping this is good. Dirty Diana.
Dirty Diana. You are currently on 4. Whatever you score with Dirty Diana, you are straight through to the next round, because even if you score 100 points, you still won't overtake Brian and Ian there on 121. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Dirty Diana. It's good. Down it goes. It's very good. Oh, not bad. That means 9 of our 100 people said Dirty Diana. That takes your total up to 13. You are through to the next round. Right, here's where it gets interesting. Maureen, you are on 70. You have to score 50 or less with this answer, otherwise you are off the show.
I only know one more Michael Jackson song, and that's Billie Jean.
There's your red line. Under that red line, and you are staying with us. Over that red line, and you are off the show. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Billie Jean. It's good. Oh! I'm afraid it means that 51 of our 100 people said Billie Jean. That means you are absolutely like as you lie. You are on 121 points each. This is very exciting. It means we have a tie. The tied pairs have another answer each. You can confer, but I need another answer from each of you. I'm going to start with Maureen and Barbara.
Oh, we don't know what it's called.
Don't blame it on the
Oh,
moonlight.
don't blame it on the moonlight. Oh, is it sunshine? Oh, don't blame it on the sunshine.
A final answer. I want a final answer from you.
Blame it on the boogie.
Blame it on the boogie. Final answer is blame it on the boogie.
Is it it?
Let's see how many of our 100 people said blame it on the boogie. If it's an incorrect answer, obviously, it will score 100 points. Unfortunately, that is a wrong answer, which means you score 100 points. Richard, blame it on the boogie.
Yeah.
Don't blame it on the sunshine. Possibly the jury's out on the moon.
You've stumbled across the right answer eventually, the right name, but it was a Jackson 5 single.
I
I'm
thought
afraid.
it was.
Yeah.
OK, Brian and Ian. All I need from you is an answer that will score you 99 or less.
Whatever you think. Whatever you think, I'll go with you.
OK, hopefully I'm going to try and redeem myself. And we're going to say something that we think is going to be fairly well known, but is a correct answer.
OK.
And I'm going to go for Earth Song.
There's the red line immediately below the pink line. If you come below that red line, you are on the show for the next round. And we say goodbye to Maureen and Barbara. Earth Song. How many of our 100 people said that? It's good enough. Is it even pointless? No. Oh. Very good. That means 20 of our 100 people said Earth Song. Well, at the end of round 1, the losing pair with the highest score, I'm afraid, is Maureen and Barbara. Bad luck. Not your speciality area, was it?
No.
Never mind. You've done very well. Richard, what answers should they have given?
There were a whole bunch of pointless answers. I'll take you through a few of them. Rock With You would be pointless. They Don't Care About Us was pointless. It's a very popular song, but pointless. One More Chance. That was pointless. Another part of me cried. David gave us Farewell, My Summer Love, which was brilliant. Girl, You're So Together, Given to Me, and Gone Too Soon, which of course Usher sang at Michael Jackson's memorial concert. But also things like Pretty Young Thing was pointless. Stranger in Moscow was pointless. There are a lot of big hit singles there that were pointless. And In the Closet. Let's take a look at the worst answers you could have given. Maureen and Barbara, you might want to look away. The third most obvious was Bad. Would have given you 30. Maureen, you gave us Billie Jean, which was the second most popular. And Barbara, you gave us the most popular of all, which was Thriller with 70 points.
OK, thanks, Richard. Maureen and Barbara, that was your second and final chance on the show. You just don't have that pointless Michael Jackson knowledge you needed to win, I'm afraid, so we have to say goodbye. But thank you so much for playing. Thank you.
Thank you.
OK, guys, the round 2 category is countries. Can you decide in your pairs who's going to go first, who's going to go second? And whoever's going first, please step up to the podium. So remember, Pointless is all about scoring the fewest points. You need to rack your brains for those obscure, unheard-of answers you think the fewest of our 100 people said. With that in mind, let's find out what the question is. We gave 100 people 100 seconds to name as many countries with 5-letter names as they could. Richard, can you be more specific?
Yeah, I need you to pay very, very close attention. I need you to give me countries, and they've got to have 5 letters in their name. By countries, as always, we mean UN members, which are sovereign states. And those names have to be the English names of those countries, so the names we give them. There are 26 of them.
Thank you very much, Richard. So, Tori, what could be simpler? Countries with 5-letter names.
I can only think of 2, and they're not obscure. I'm going to say India.
India. A little country. But undoubtedly a country with 5 letters in its name. Let's see how many of our 100 people said India. It's a correct answer. Not bad. Not bad at all. Look at that. Wow! Astonishingly, that means only 16 of our 100 people said India. That gives you a respectable low score of 16. On to our next pair. Craig, a country with a 5-letter name. Really obscure one.
I'm not sure if it's a country, but I'd say Kenya.
Kenya. Very good. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Kenya. It's good. Down it comes. It's a good answer. Look at that. 2. On to our next pair. Ian, a country of 5 letters.
I think I'm going to go for Ghana.
Let's see how many of our 100 people said Ghana. It's a correct answer. It's going to be another good one, I think. Down it goes. Very good. That means only 9 of our 100 people said Ghana. And finally, David, a country with 5 letters in its name.
I'm going to have to go for the one that I think it's got the least amount of people. I'm going to have to go for Japan.
Let's see how many of our 100 people said Japan. It's the right answer. Not bad. That means 22 of our 100 people said Japan. Well, we are halfway through the round. Let's have a look at the scoreboard. Darren and Craig did fantastically well there with a lovely low score of 2. Neil and David, 22 is not a bad score, but the others have been so low. You're going to have to try and score as low as you possibly can, Neil, on the next pass. OK, we're going to come back down the line. Will the second players please take their places at the podium? Neil, we are looking for countries with 5-letter names. A really nice obscure one.
Well, unfortunately, Craig got the one that I was first thinking of. So we'll try, I hope it's a country, Libya.
Let's see how many of our 100 people said Libya. It's correct. It's good. It's very good. That means only 4 of our 100 people said Libya. That brings your total up to 26. Well done there, Neil. On to our next pair. Brian, you are currently on 9. To avoid overtaking Neil and David on 26, you want to score 16 or less with this answer. What are you going to give me? 5-letter named country.
I'm going to go for Chile.
There is your red line. It's a low red line because everyone is scoring low. If you are below that red line, you are through to the next round. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Chile. That's correct. Is it low enough? Yes, it is. Just. That means that 15 of our 100 people said Chile. That gives you a total of 24 and means you are definitely through to the next round. On to our next pair. Darren, you are currently on 2. To avoid overtaking Neil and David on 26, you have to give me an answer that scores you 23 or less. We are looking for countries with 5-letter names.
And I have to say China.
There's your red line. If you are below that red line, you are through to the next round. Let's see how many of our 100 people said China. That means 28 of our 100 people said China. That takes your score up to 30. You are now the high scorers. Great news for Neil and David there. You are now through to the next round. Nia and Tori, you've got it all to play for in this question. You are currently on 16, Nia. You have to score 13 or less to get through to the next round. We are looking for countries with 5-letter names.
I'm going to say Samoa.
Here's your red line. It's very low. If you get below that red line, you are definitely through to the next round. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Samoa. It's good. Down it comes. Oh, and you're on. That's great. That means only one person out of our 100 people said Samoa. That takes your total up to 17. At the end of round 2, the losing pair with the highest score is Darren and Craig.
Oh, well. Enjoyed.
Well, you
I
did
beat them in
very
points
well.
anyway, so.
Well, you've done very well indeed. Richard, what answers should they have gone for?
Well, you couldn't have done a lot better than Nia with Samoa, which got 1 point, but there were 4 pointless answers. If we take a look at them, there'll be some people shouting these at the screen at home. Qatar, Palau, which is in the northern Pacific, and Nauru, which, God bless, is only 8 square miles and doesn't even have a capital. So, poor old Nauru. There are a lot of countries got 1, actually. If you've got any of these at home, well done. Yemen, Syria, Sudan, Samoa, Niger, Gabon, all of those were 1 point. But let's take a look at the most obvious answers. The third most obvious, Darren gave us, which is China. Now, Darren and Craig have been brilliant contestants. Just before you go, do you want to have a go at the 2 most obvious 5-letter countries?
Italy.
Italy is up there. Italy's number 2. And the worst answer of all?
Spain.
Spain. Well done. They're the 3 worst answers.
Thanks, Rich. Darren and Craig, that was your second and final chance on the show. I'm afraid you just didn't have that pointless 5-letter country knowledge you needed to get through. So I'm afraid we have to say goodbye, but thanks so much for playing.
Thank you very much.
Now, obviously, only 2 pairs will make it through to the head-to-head, so this is your final chance. All of you need to find those low-scoring answers to stay in the game. The round 3 category is astronomy. So who's going to go first? Who's going to go second? And whoever's going first, please step up to the podium. Right, let's find out what the question is going to be. We gave 100 people 100 seconds to name as many star constellations as they could. Richard, can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I think we might see some high scores here. We're looking for the Latin names, those are the names by which they're usually known, of the 88 constellations recognised by the International Astronomical Union. Don't be frightened by the idea of Latin names. These are the names by which you will recognise a lot of names on this list as the names by which these systems are mainly known. Very, very best of luck.
Right, remember, you need to score the fewest points. So you need to give the answer that the fewest of our 100 people said. Those really obscure Latin star constellations. OK, Tori, you are up first. What are you going to give me? We are looking for star constellations.
The only word in my head is nebula. I have no idea.
Nebula. It's a good word.
Star-linked, I'm hoping.
It is definitely star-linked. Let's see if it's a right answer, and let's see how many of our 100 people said it if it is. Nebula. Oh, bad luck. Unfortunately, that is a wrong answer, and you do score the maximum of 100 points. On to our next pair. Brian, I want a star constellation, a nice obscure one that no one else could think of.
Going to go for one which I hope they won't have written down because it's a long word.
Ooh, I like the sound of this.
Cassiopeia.
Cassiopeia. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Cassiopeia. It's correct. And it's coming all the way down, I think. Look at that. Down it goes. Oh! That means 5 of our 100 people said Cassiopeia. That gives you a very impressive low score of 5, Brian. Cassiopeia, Richard?
Yes, a brilliant answer, Brian. It's a constellation in the northern sky. It resembles a slightly irregular W shape.
OK, on to Neil. Neil, I want a star constellation from you, and I want a really obscure one.
For Ursa Minor.
Let's see how many of our 100 people said Ursa Minor. It's correct. And it's good. That means 11 of our 100 people said Ursa Minor. That gives Neil and David 11. So, Rich, Ursa Minor.
Also known as the Little Bear. It's got the Little Dipper right in the middle of it.
OK, we're halfway through the round. Let's have a look at the scores. Well, Brian and Ian looking fantastic. They're on 5. Nia and Tori, oh, it's tough. Nia, you're going to have to find a really low-scoring answer on the next pass. We're going to come back down the line. Could the second players please take their places at the podium? We are looking for star constellations, David. Your score at the moment is 11. To avoid becoming the high scorers, you have to score 88 or less with this answer. What are you going to give me? A star constellation?
I'm going for, and I've not got a clue, is there an Ursa Major?
We shall see if there's an Ursa Major. Here is your red line. It's nice and high. If you can get below that red line, you are definitely through to the next round. Ursa Major. It's good. It's very good. Nothing wrong with that. That means 14 of our 100 people said Ursa Major. That takes your total up to an impressively low 25. You are definitely through to the next round. Ian, no pressure. We are after a star constellation. You are currently on 5. You only have to score 94 or less to ensure your place in the next round.
I don't think it's necessarily a constellation, but I'm going to say Orion, as in Orion's belt.
Well, there is your red line. You have to be below that red line to ensure your place in the next round. If it is an incorrect answer, you will score the maximum 100 points. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Orion. It's good. You're through. Bad news for Nia and Tori. That means 42 of our 100 people said Orion, and that gives you a total of 47. You are definitely through to the next round. Well, Nia, I'm afraid you are the highest scoring pair, even before you've given your answer, so you are definitely off the show after this round. But why not see if you can have a crack at a pointless answer and in a very selfless gesture add £250 to the jackpot?
The only thing I can think of, I'm not sure if it's a constellation, is Sirius B.
Sirius B. Well, we shall discover. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Sirius B. No, bad luck. I'm afraid that is a wrong answer. But you go out in a blaze of glory. Look at that, 200 points. At the end of round 3, the losing pair with the highest score, I'm afraid, is Nia and Tori. Bad luck. You just drew a blank there, didn't you?
Completely. I haven't got a clue.
dear.
Oh, my girls, we should know.
Should
There's
you?
Stars and all
Really?
that kind of stuff.
That might have been an idea. I wouldn't be at all surprised if some of those astrological signs are also stars. They'd have to be, wouldn't they? I don't know. Well, we will discover. Richard.
Well, you're exactly right. Nia and Tori, what you should have done is gone with those star signs. If you did that at home, well done. The following would all have got you 10 points or less. Cancer, Aquarius, Gemini, Aries, Leo, Pisces, Sagittarius, Taurus, Libra would have got you 3 points. All of them are there. If you'd just gone with star signs, you'd have been absolutely laughing. A really tough category. Nebula is a cloud of dust in space. And Sirius, well, Sirius B is the slightly smaller version of the Dog Star, which is in Canis Major. But there were also an awful lot of pointless answers. Of course, pointless answers, we give 100 people 100 seconds to write down as many things as they can. These are the ones that nobody mentioned in all that 100 seconds. This is a new record, I think. There were 51 pointless answers in this category. I won't take you through all of them. You can go and look at the sky if you want to see them. Hercules was pointless. Chameleon, Leo Minor, who's Tony Blair's son. He was pointless. Microscopium, I don't know what that was named after. Scorpius, Calum, these are all pointless answers. Capricornus, Carina, Centaurus. But well done at home if you got any of those. Let's take a look at the most obvious. We've already seen all three of these. Neil and David, what a brilliant double team that was. Ursa Minor we have from Neil, leading David straight on to the slam dunk with Ursa Major, seeing you through the head-to-head. Top answer of all, what saw you through, was Orion.
Thanks, Rich. OK, Nia and Tori, you've wasted one of your chances to get through to the pointless final, so we have to say goodbye for today. But we'll see you next time for your last chance. Thanks so much for playing. Thank you. But for the remaining two pairs, things are going to get even more exciting now as we enter the head-to-head. Well done, Neil and David, Brian and Ian. You've made it through to the head-to-head. Now, look, obviously, only one pair can make it through to the final and play for today's jackpot, which currently stands at, in case you've forgotten, £7,250. That means we've got to eliminate one pair. And here's how the head-to-head works. You are now allowed to confer. Each team will take turns to give me an answer, and you'll each have an equal number of turns. The first team that accumulates more than 100 points, or the team that goes over 100 by the most, will lose. OK, so as always, to stay in the game, you want to come up with those really obscure facts that everyone else forgets and score as few points as possible. Now, Neil and David, you performed best over the first 3 rounds, so not only do you get to decide whether or not you go first, you also get to choose the topic. And your choice is between the USSR and athletic events. What would you like?
Yeah. Neil drinks quite a bit of vodka, so we're going to go for the USSR.
A good reason to make a good choice. Would you like to go first or second?
Second.
OK, the USSR, and you're going second. Let's play Pointless. Right, let's find out what the question's going to be. We gave 100 people 100 seconds to name as many countries of the former USSR as they could. Richard, can you be any more specific than that?
Yep, we're looking for any of the 15 former Soviet states that have become sovereign states since the breakup of the USSR in 1991.
Very good, thank you. Now remember, you don't want to go over 100, so you want to score the lowest number of points each time. What are those former USSR states that no one else could think of? OK, Neil and David, you elected to go second, so Brian and Ian have first bite at this. OK.
Siberia.
Let's see how many of our 100 people said Siberia. Oh dear, I'm afraid that is a wrong answer. That scores you the maximum of 100 points. You haven't yet gone over 100 points, so you're still in the game. Neil and David, we are looking for countries from the former USSR.
We've got quite a few. We don't know if any of them are right, but we've got quite a few.
OK.
I'm going to let Neil go and say.
Liberia.
Liberia. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Liberia. Well, that's going to keep it interesting. That is a wrong answer, which means you also score the maximum of 100 points. Richard, Liberia.
Yeah, Liberia, it rhymes with Siberia, and it's also a wrong answer. It's in Africa.
Well, we are now in a sudden death scenario. You have both given me 100, so it comes down to whoever can give me the smallest scoring answer next. Brian and Ian, what are you going to say? We want a country from the former USSR. Has to be a correct answer, and it has to be one that the fewest of our 100 people said. OK?
Georgia.
Georgia. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Georgia. It's correct. It's not a bad score. That means 35. of our 100 people said Georgia. OK, Neil and David, that makes your goal very clear. If you score 34 or less, you are in the final with a chance to win that jackpot of £7,250. Anything over that, and you are off the show. What are you going to say?
We're unsure, so we're going to say Chechnya.
Chechnya. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Chechnya. I'm afraid that is a wrong answer. Well, you've had 2 turns each. Neil and David, you have gone over 100 points by the most, so I'm afraid that means you are off the show. Did you have any other states?
Uzbekistan.
Uzbekistan. I heard you saying that earlier. I have a good feeling about Uzbekistan.
Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan, yes. These are all former Soviet states, I'm sure. Richard, what should they have said?
Well, they should have said Uzbekistan or Kazakhstan. So that would have scored 17 and 28, and both of those would have seen you safely through to the jackpot round. There were no pointless answers, but we'll take a look at some of the more obscure ones. Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan and Turkmenistan. So well done if you're shouting any of those at the telly right about now. Those were all good answers. And there's Armenia, Azerbaijan, Moldova, Estonia, Lithuania, Belarus. But we'll look at the worst answers you could have given. Ian and Brian, you gave us Georgia, which was the 3rd most popular answer. And the 2 biggest, Russia, of course, was a former Soviet state. But beating Russia was Ukraine. Ukraine was the worst answer of all.
Thanks very much, Rich. OK, Neil and David, you've wasted one of your chances to get through to the Pointless final, so we have to say goodbye for today. But we'll see you next time for your last chance. Thanks so much for playing.
Thank you. Good luck.
So congratulations, Brian and Ian. You've fought off all the competition, and you've won our coveted Pointless trophy. Now, however, it's time for you to have a shot at our Pointless jackpot. At the end of today's show, the jackpot stands at £7,250. The rules are very simple. To win the money, all you have to do is find a pointless answer that none of our 100 people could think of. Now, we've had one pointless answer on the show today. Let's just hope you can find one now. First, though, you've got to choose a category from these 3 options, and you can go for the Turner Prize, Wimbledon, or famous bridges.
I don't think I would be any good at the Turner Prize, and Wimbledon might be past winners.
It might be. Wimbledon.
We'll go for Wimbledon.
Wimbledon. OK, let's find out what the question is. So we gave 100 people 100 seconds to name as many seeded men at Wimbledon in 2009 as they could. Richard.
We're looking for any of the 32 seeded players at the men's Wimbledon singles title this year.
OK, best of luck. You now have up to 1 minute to come up with 3 answers. All you need to win that £7,250 is for just one of those answers to be pointless. OK, and your 60 seconds start now.
OK, so we have the obvious ones like Andy Murray, Djokovic, and those are the top 3. So I thought perhaps maybe a guy called Marat Safin. He was, I think, in there.
Was it a Krajicek?
No, Richard Krajicek's older, I think, a lot older.
Right.
Marat Safin. There might be a guy called Carlos Moya, but I'm not too sure.
Sounds good to me.
Marat Safin, Carlos Moya, and perhaps somebody who's really random. I think there's probably quite a lot of Russians. Is there any Russian names you can think of? Or
15 seconds.
There's a guy with a really big serve, and I can't remember his name.
No. The only sort of European-y, Russian-y type is this Krajicek. I'll get rid of that from here.
OK, time's up.
OK.
Which 3 answers are you going to give me?
OK, we're going to go with Marat Safin.
Marat Safin.
Carlos Moya.
Carlos Moya.
And I think we're going to have to go for one of the more obvious ones. We'll say Djokic, I think it is.
Djokic. OK, let's put them on the board. Safin, Moya, and Djokic. Let's try your first answer. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Safin. This for £7,250. It's a correct answer. Down it goes. It's good. It's very good. Oh, no! Oh. That means one of our 100 people said Safin, so unfortunately that obviously is not a pointless answer. You only have 2 more chances to win today's jackpot. We are looking for seeded men at Wimbledon 2009. Let's see how many of our 100 people went with your next answer, Moya. This now has to be a pointless answer. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Moya. Unfortunately, that is an incorrect answer, so that is also not a pointless answer. You only have one final chance now to win today's jackpot. We are looking for seeded men at Wimbledon in 2009. This, your final answer, has to be pointless if you are going to win the jackpot. We've really got to hope that none of our 100 people said Djokic. You were so close with that first answer, Safin. You've got to be closer with Djokic. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Djokic. We are looking for this to be a pointless answer. Bad luck, guys. Unfortunately, you didn't manage to find that all-important pointless answer, so you don't win today's jackpot. Oh, Richard, that was tough, wasn't it?
Yeah, really tough. Safin was a great answer. It was his last year at Wimbledon this year. Let's take a look at some of the pointless answers. There were 16 in all. I won't go through all of them. David Ferrer, the Spaniard, Gonzalez, who knocked Murray out in France, Robin Soderling, who was in the French final against Federer. They were all pointless. Viktor Troicki, Albert Montagnes, and the Russian Tursunov. They were all pointless answers as well. If you got any of those at home, very, very well done.
Bad luck. Does that make it any easier hearing those pointlesses?
Not really.
No. You were nearly there, weren't you?
Yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
Oh, so close.
Never mind. So close. But you've done so well. You've played fantastically. Well done. Thanks so much for being on the show. So nobody has won our jackpot today, so it rolls over again to our next show. Join us then to see if someone can win it on Pointless. Meanwhile, it's goodbye from Richard.
Goodbye.
And goodbye from me. Goodbye.